Can I feel it?
Feel what?
Your heart.
Grace and Claudia, a love story in isolation. Claudia was a peculiar girl, living in an old forgotten house deep within the woods. She had never stepped outside, never known freedom, never even had a friend. Her world was confined within 4 crumbling walls and a few dusty books. Everything she knew, how to speak, how to behave, how to think, had been taught by her mother, or rather imposed. Then Grace appeared.
Yeah.
She walked into Claudia's house like a breeze, without knocking, without permission. Claudia stepped back, wary and confused. But Grace only smiled, her bright eyes sparkling as if they had seen the whole world and still chose to pause right here. "Sorry for barging in," Grace said. "I just wanted to see if you're okay." From that moment on, time began to flow differently. Grace became the first spark of life to enter Claudia's closed-off world. She taught Claudia little things, how to tie thread bracelets,
Hey, you okay?
how to tell the difference
Yes,
between
pretty
strawberry and chocolate milk, how to smile with your eyes, not just your lips. Claudia listened to her like she was absorbing sunlight after a never-ending winter. "You really think I'm smart?" Claudia asked when Grace gifted her a bracelet with the word "smart" on it. "Yes. And beautiful too," Grace said, as if it were the most natural truth in the world. Claudia didn't respond. She only held the bracelet tightly, her heart swelling with a strange sensation, warm and trembling, as if her world was about to burst open with something she couldn't name yet. Another time, Grace helped bathe Claudia, not out of necessity, but because she was so lost in her own mind. They sat together in the warm water, laughing as Grace styled her hair into silly shapes with soap suds. Claudia watched her radiant face and wondered, "Can a person really carry light like this? Is it scary out there?" she asked quietly. Grace shook her head, her eyes soft. "Only if you don't have someone to trust." The more time they spent together,
Guess the flavor.
the blurrier the line between friend and something more became. One day, they played a game where Claudia had to guess lipstick flavors. When she
Apple.
failed, Grace leaned in and said, "Let me give you a clue," then
Begin
pressed
as
her
well.
lips gently to Claudia's. "Strawberry," Claudia whispered, her heart racing. Then she kissed her again, this time not to guess, but to be sure it was real. That night, Claudia shyly asked, "Will you stay here tonight?" Grace
Watermelon?
smiled without hesitation. Of
You'll
course.
never guess this one.
They pushed the beds together,
It's
lying
really
side
hard.
by side, staring at the ceiling. No words were needed. The silence between them no longer felt scary. It was soft and warm, like a blanket
Give
draped
up?
over their hearts. "Grace,"
want a
Claudia whispered. "Yes. I don't know what this is, but every time you look at me, I feel like I actually exist." Grace turned, gently touching her cheek. "Me too." In that quiet room, they shared their first embrace, their first intertwined fingers, their first confessions, things Claudia never imagined she'd be capable of. There was no dramatic music, no grand gestures, only two hearts finally finding each other in a world that had always felt too big and too cold. The next morning, Claudia woke up
you want
alone.
another?
On the table, there was a bottle of strawberry milk and a small note. "I went out to get your favorite. Be right back. Don't be afraid." She held the note close and rested her forehead against the window. For the first time, she knew what it felt like to wait for someone,
Strawberry?
with hope and fear tangled together. But for the first time, she also knew
Reminds
having
me
someone
of
to wait for is a
strawberry
beautiful thing. When Grace returned, Claudia ran to her like a child, wrapping her arms around her tightly. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. "I was scared," she whispered. "Scared you wouldn't come back." Grace looked into her eyes and kissed her forehead. "I'm not going anywhere. Not as long as you need me." Claudia smiled,
You think
really
that someone's
smiled.
going to come
Not the
looking for you?
hesitant kind she used to give, but something full
No
and
one really
bright. Like every
cares to
locked
do
door
that sort of
inside
thing
her
with
had
me.
finally opened. She didn't need
Just
the
fine.
outside world or answers to her past. She only needed one thing. The girl in front of her, the one who walked into her life like light walks into a dark room. Unexpected,
Not even if you stare at
radiant,
light?
and impossible to ignore. Grace and Claudia
not.
isn't a story about grand tragedies or eternal promises.
Not even if
It's
you stare
simply the
overnight?
story of two souls, one trapped, one breaking and learning to love, learning to trust,
Why do you ask?
and most of all, learning to live honestly. And just like that, love began.